What is shakin', Internet? Welcome to A Dash of Salts, where you ask Salts questions about his life and things and stuff. So, first things first, let's get some business out of the way. Before I start answering any questions, I must say that the last winner did not reply within the 7 days, so I picked a new winner for last month's $20 giveaway. So the new winner is Ice Owns 12. Ice Owns 12. I will send you a message tonight on YouTube, and you have 7 days to respond, or I'll pick another winner. So anyway, before I answer questions, I need to ask everyone to ask questions. So please, if you have a question for me, for Salts, I want you to leave a question in the comments below, or send an email to a-dash.of.salts@gmail.com. That's a-of-salts with periods in between at gmail.com. If you send an email there, or if you leave a comment in the comment below with a question, you will be entered to win a $20 gift card at the end of the month. Every week, I will pick 5 questions to answer. I will answer those questions, and those 5 people will be entered into the drawing. That means 20 to 25 people every month will be entered to win a $20 card. Them's pretty good odds. So I highly recommend that you leave a question. The $20 card is pretty much anything you want. I can give it Battle.net $20 card. I can give $20 of LOL RP. I can give $20 of Steam Bucks, which, hey, it's a really good time for Steam Bucks. I'm just saying. Just saying. Steam sale's coming up. But I digress. Please leave those questions in the comments or send an email to a-of-salts@gmail.com so I can answer some more questions next week. Either way, the 5 winners this week, let's go ahead and get started on those questions, shall we? Question number 1 comes from Unholy X Romance. Unholy X Romance asks, how do you get your info for your raid tanking guides? This is a pretty good question. Obviously, I've been doing raid guides for several expansions now. I should have the new raid guides up shortly. LFR is coming out for the new stuff. So let me give you just a little bit of background. So first, I watch any videos that I can of beta testing. If I can't get into beta testing myself, I generally try and watch a little bit of beta testing. However, I do not make any raid guides at all until I have a little bit of personal experience. That's mainly due to me. I want to have the experience, and I want to have the film. Normally, I do the footage first, and then I write the guides. That way I can kind of clarify. Sometimes if I get a little time, I will write partial guides. I will write like the basic abilities and stuff like that, and like the core part of a guide. And then after that, I will go ahead and fill in the gaps once I get that personal experience. But yes, I always get personal experience before I do that. Additionally, I check the dungeon journal. And additionally, like I said, I check any videos out there that I can find. I even watch some other guides sometimes, but those are generally, I don't know. I'm not going to knock on anybody else's guides because I think some other people make some absolutely fantastic raiding guides. I just try and dumb mine down to the very basics. That's why I call it How to Tank for Dummies. I want to just give you the basics of tanking. Honestly, I remember when I started these guides, I was only doing it for people who didn't have any idea what was going on, because I didn't have any idea what was going on. Basically, I got into the raids and I was like, holy cow, I'm really scared and I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't want to queue for this because I don't know what I'm doing. So this is literally just me putting out guides to help people who are not comfortable, because honestly, this stuff is not that hard. It's a lot easier than you think it is, especially if somebody walks you through it step by step. So I try and get the step-by-step basics of the guides down like that. There's also a couple of other sources. One thing that I really like to do besides the Dungeon Journal is I like to check out the guides on Icy Veins. Icy Veins is a great raiding site that has, I mean, more than just raiding, but I mean, it has all kinds of good information on there. They have great guides that go in-depth on strategy and things like that. I don't always agree 100% with the strategies on that, but that's just generally because that's normal in Heroic, and sometimes I like to try things, different things on LFR especially. LFR is definitely a whole different beast than normal in Heroic sometimes, but I try and read those just so I can kind of get a basic understanding of some of the basic strategies, especially since there's lots of fancy strategies out there. So those are generally where I go. I go to videos, I do Dungeon Journal, I do Icy Veins if they have stuff up, and personal experience. Hopefully most of it comes from personal experience, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's go ahead and that's good for that question. Next question comes from James Easley. James Easley asks, do you play any DPS classes? what's your favorite? So, my favorite and pretty much only DPS class that I play at all, which I guess technically is that way, the only class I play as DPS is Mage. I have a level 92 Mage at the moment, just so they can have the garrison and the mine and that kind of stuff. But generally what I find is I don't really enjoy playing the Mage. I don't really enjoy playing DPS. In fact, my Druid has a tank spec and a heal spec. I'm not very good at the heal spec, but I have no idea what I'm doing in DPS. I don't even look up guides. I have no clue. I've never even done the proving grounds on DPS. I don't even know what it's like. I've done the healing grounds. I've done the tank grounds, but I've never done the DPS. So I honestly don't even like DPS because I don't feel like I don't like to look at a meter and see how good I am based on a meter, because I like the tank aspect. It's like if people are dying, I'm losing. I'm doing something wrong. The same with the healer. It's like if people are dying, I'm doing something wrong. That's a better indicator to me than am I on top of the DPS charts, even though I am as a Guardian Druid, but we'll just leave it out. I will say a Mage is the only class that I have up at high level. But as far as DPS goes, the only fun time I've ever had as DPS is as a Hunter. A Hunter DPS is fantastic. I actually started playing a Hunter back in Vanilla WoW. I really enjoyed it a ton back then. I didn't even get to max level. I didn't even get to level 60 with that Hunter before I stopped playing the game for a while. But that Hunter was probably it was too much fun. And I think that's just a little bit of a nostalgia, just remembering how fun it was to play WoW for the first time. And I was playing a Night Elf Hunter at the time. So yeah, I still say Hunter is pretty fun. I have started leveling up a Hunter. I mean, they're not max level or anything like that, and I don't expect them to be max level anytime soon, since I have so many other characters to level. But I would say Hunter is my favorite DPS class, like pure DPS class. If it's anything else, I have no idea. I just don't have a lot of experience. I really did like playing the Fire Mage, but I hate leveling as a Fire Mage. Like, Fire Mage is super fun to play when you get those Pyro Blasts rolling, but I can't level as it because I just die all the time. All the time. And maybe that's just because I got that tank mentality. I want to tank everything. But either way, so that's that question. So let's move on. Cloudy Butt. Cloudy Butt. Good. Love that name. Cloudy Butt asks, what are your thoughts on the technical issues with the expansion so far? Did you expect them? And if so, will you continue to do so? So I did not expect quite as many technical limitations. I will say that neither did Blizzard, and neither did anybody else. And I do believe that a lot of it's DDoS attacks. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's a little bit out of control, or out of some people's control, as far as those technical issues go. However, there are still some other things to consider. You do realize that, a month or two ago, World of Warcraft only had about 8 million, maybe 7.5 million subscribers, and then they got 10 million. That's a huge jump. That's 2.5 million people coming back to the game. And, the servers haven't had 10 million people on them for a long time, like for years, for many years actually at this point. So I mean, it's a big, huge bump that nobody kind of expected. So I do expect the technical issues to kind of keep happening. When the raid came out, obviously it was down for a long time because of maintenance. It was down for extended maintenance after that, and then it pretty much didn't work at all day. I think Blizzard's been pretty good. They did give that 5 days for people who were at launch and were having so many issues at launch. I think that they're trying to give out. I mean, 5 days. If you sit down and do the math, you give 5 days to every single person who has subscribed at that time, and it's like hundreds of millions of dollars. It's not even. It's like that's how much money they're losing just by deciding to do that. I don't think that it's really that bad in the long run, but it will. I mean, I do expect the technical issues to kind of keep happening, at least for a little while they kind of get everything back together. They've done all these server merges and things like that behind the scenes because we've lost so many people, but now we've got all those people back. So they're probably scrambling right now to get everything straightened out. I think that it's quite a bit better now than it was. I thought it was better, and then the Highmaul raid came out, and then everything kind of just crashed and burned miserably. But I will say that hopefully it'll be smooth from here on out. We'll see once Blackrock Foundry comes out. So, either way, that's good for that question. Next question is from Curtis Prieur. Pure. I don't know how to say that name, but Pure. It sounds French. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that. He asked, what is your favorite video game and why? Oh, I love this question. I love answering favorite questions. But I'm going to answer it in 3 parts because my favorite video game, I have 3 favorite video games, and I feel like that's pretty okay. I mean, a lot of people have one sole video game that's better than all the others. I've got 3. They're my top 3. I think that's a pretty good range. So the top 3 video games include, but are in no particular order. The first one is Disgaea. Disgaea from PlayStation 2 is a tactical RPG that is similar to Final Fantasy Tactics if you played that, Ogre Tactics if you played that, any other tactics-based game, maybe Advanced Wars in some form. But Disgaea is absolutely fantastic. It has a great story. It is a hilarious game. It has tons and tons of replayability. You can play that game for hundreds and hundreds of hours and never see the end. There's all kinds of fun stuff. You can sit there and grind out levels. Like I'm just sitting here grinding levels for like 40 hours, and it's fun. It's fun because I don't know why. I just love that game because there's so much to do and so many fancy things that nobody ever had seen before. Honestly, they've had like Disgaea 2, 3, 4. I think 5 just came out. I'm not really sure. I haven't played most of the recent ones because I don't have a PlayStation 3 or a PlayStation 4. But at the end of the day, I think that Disgaea is definitely worthy of being in the top 3. The next game is going to be a sleeper hit that probably not a lot of people have played. It is Valkyrie Profile. Valkyrie Profile for the PlayStation 1. I did play it on the PSP. It's fine there too. But Valkyrie Profile is absolutely fantastic. It is not a game for everyone. It is a game that is pretty much undescribable because it is not like any other game I've ever played in my entire life. It is an RPG. You can skip directly to the end and you will die immediately at the beginning. But it is fantastic. I just love playing Valkyrie Profile. It has some of the best voice acting back on PlayStation 1. It has this crazy storyline. It has so many unique characters that are so memorable. The combat system is absolutely unique. You've never seen it anywhere else. I've never seen it anything like it. And it is just fantastic. It is too much fun to play that game. And yet again, it has a lot of a little bit of replayability, but a lot of excessive. Like after you beat the game, you can go do stuff and level up your characters and just have so much fun. That game is fantastic. I love it, and I do suggest you play it if you have a PSP. You can get Valkyrie Profile on your PSP. I think it's called Valkyrie Profile Lenneth on the PSP. And number 1, the other game, I guess number 3 at this point. Number 3 is Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger for the Super Nintendo is the best RPG that has ever been made. The only one that comes close is Final Fantasy VI. I do love Final Fantasy VI, but Chrono Trigger was my first game. Like, Chrono Trigger is the game that I really started getting into video games for. Before that, I had played a lot of video games and stuff like that. Once Chrono Trigger came out, it captivated me, and I couldn't stop playing it. I remember getting it in 1995 along with my Super Nintendo system on Christmas, and it was just glorious. It was so much fun. I sat there and played it all day. Yeah, Chrono Trigger is a masterpiece of a video game. It's got one of the best stories ever. It's got fantastic music, absolutely great music. I can't say enough good things about it. Like it is the pinnacle of Super Nintendo RPGs, in my opinion, and maybe even further. So either way, let's go ahead and end that question there. You got my 3 games. Hopefully, I've answered your question, and we have one more question to cut through. So let's go through here. Whole Man Spain asks, what do you think about the stamina buff in this expansion? So I believe he's talking about the point. So you used to have 1 point in stamina meant about 10 hit points, and now 1 point is closer to like 60 or 70 hit points. So basically, stamina got a huge buff. You know, every point of stamina is like that. I think that's a little bit changed because of the stat squish. Like the stat squish covered quite a bit of that, so it's not quite as big as you think it is. Like it does look like it's 6 or 7 times as much as you used to get, but the stat buff really messed everything up because you get a lot less, or you get a lot less damage or things like that. They did a lot of changes on the numbers as a whole, so I don't think it's as much a buff as you think it is. However, it is kind of a strange mechanic to deal with now because every bit of stamina on your gear seems to have a much bigger impact on your health or on your survivability. I think that stamina is a really great stat for pretty much any tank now. I think stamina gems are absolutely great. Stamina enchants, if that's such a thing. I haven't gotten to that point yet. I think I'm using mastery enchants, but I think stamina enchants and stamina gems are actually much more powerful than they used to be. Also because before, a stamina gem was half of what you could get on like a mastery. Like you'd get 100 mastery or for the same gem as a 50 stamina. But with the changes now, you get 100 stamina for 100 mastery. So you kind of have to figure it out. I don't know how all the numbers have changed. I just want to say that it's not as big a change or as big a buff as you think it is, but it is still a buff. It is still meaning that stamina is a bigger point. I already answered this a little bit, but I personally think that the Guardian Druid that I play is absolutely fantastic with stamina because I'm just a big old sack of health. I just love having lots and lots of hit points. I loved back in MoP when I had, million and 1.2 million health. And it's just fantastic. I think right now in Warlords of Draenor, I'm not that high level just yet, but I think I'm at 450 with all my buffs and everything like that, 450k, and I love it. I love having that much health again, and I hope I can get up to 1 million sometime again. But yeah, that's pretty much what I think of the stamina buff. I don't think it's as big a deal as you think it is, but I do like it because I think stamina is just more fun. It's just more of a fun stat now, whereas before it was kind of good for some tanks and not as good for others. So either way, let's go ahead and wrap it up there. There's your 5 questions for this week. Again, I would really, really, really like you to leave a question in the comments below or send me a question to a.dash.of.salts@gmail.com. I will say I will give priority to anyone who sends me an email. So if you send me an email question, I will almost guarantee to put it on the show. Those questions will get a little priority. Just to kind of shake it up a little bit. I want some emails, and I haven't gotten pretty much any emails. So that's fine. But if you want to leave a comment, if it's a great question, I'll pick it up either way. But please leave those questions in the comments or email so that I have some questions for next week. And you can get entered to win that $20 giveaway at the end of the month. It'll be a great time to get it right after Christmas when you already have all your gifts. Yeah, I should have thought that one through. Either way, please like, favorite, share, subscribe, all that jazz. And, as always, you keep it salty, Internet.